Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 34th Tromsø International Film Festival. My name is Neil Young. I'm a critic and programmer from the UK, and I'm delighted to be here today to talk to my guest, our guest, Mohamed Jabaly, the director of the opening film this year at Tromsø's Film Festival, Life is Beautiful. Welcome, Mohamed.
Thank you so much for being the host and hosting me to this talk, and then excited to share more about the film and life in general and what's happening these days.
As I mentioned, Life is Beautiful was selected as the opening film of the festival. There were several screenings, Focus, Verdensteatret. I was at the screening in the Culture House, Kulturhuset, and I've been coming to this festival for 20 years. I don't think I can remember such a reaction to a film. Even before it started, the audience was going wild.
Yeah.
You introduced the film, and the film, which is, of course, partly about Tromsø itself and the welcome and the people of Tromsø and your relationship with this city, so obviously it's going to connect with the audience.
Totally, yeah.
But you must have been thrilled with that, and maybe you can start by telling us what it was like to introduce this Tromsø film to Tromsø and people who are in the film watching it.
Yeah, I mean, for me also, like, it's a special occasion, since also, like, what's going on these days back home. It's for me, like, as I said it, like in the opening, I was really hoping to have the film opening at the same time as in Tromsø, at the same time as in Gaza, but it's completely, this is like didn't like for the current circumstances and the whole situation that my people at the moment living, like, which is like over the 103 days today, where we had no breaks, non-stop of living this genocide, even if we are in distance at the moment, like, or like we are outside of our city, but our families, our friends, living hardship. And this is for me the moment when I felt also to highlight and mobilize more into our life struggle, which is very relevant to also to the film, since also tells where I am from, or like the place where I came from in the first place, where also highlight the friendship between Tromsø and Gaza. And for me, like, of course, like many probably of the people also knew me, like, or friends and who were there, and also like it's been quite a journey, and many people also know close, like, about my situation in Tromsø. For me, it gives like a special moment also to bring a moment of also, like, for us, of solidarity, because, like, I think all our life we've been living under this struggle, and people also communicate and try to always stand and share their feelings, even if, like, with shout or like a word of or clap or whatever. But I feel like this is this time for me is very quite a special time, because like I lived all these days, like, of pain, and not, like, also like being able to finish the film just before the events started, or the attacks, and also in October, which is very special, like, moment also, because okay, how this gonna happen or affect the life of the film, since I've been working for years on it, and then suddenly, oh, the word is like flipped upside down. And also again to my people who lived this over and over again over the last 76 years soon, like, of this occupation. And yet again, and there is another genocide that's been followed by, like, that my people has to witness again over and over again.
And in the film, of course, we do see bombs landing in Gaza. The next door house is demolished. So it kind of emphasizes that this is not something that's been happening just for these 103 days.
Exactly.
But obviously the fact that you're here in Tromsø, but part of you is still obviously in Gaza. And can I ask, what is the current situation for your family and your friends right now?
To be honest, since, like I said in the opening, that I still haven't been in touch with my family. over now 7 days, and I managed to get in touch with a cousin who uses eSIM, where he had to go up to high roof or something to capture a signal. I wrote him yesterday, and he received my message. And then like he's updated me on the situation. I mean, also like I try to follow and see on the news like which areas been targeted. So I feel also like knowing where the attacks happening at the moment. I mean, also like we talk about over 30,000 people have been killed, and also like more than 60,000 people have been injured, and like the total damage of my city is like never in the current history on the modern time something happened to any city as it happened to my city of Gaza. We talk about historical buildings, like, you know, there is a building of that Napoleon Bonaparte like slept over 3 days when he was on his operation. And we talk about history, we talk about like places, details of life that we are losing because of all this brutality. Kind of, we try to just to live normal, but like you cannot, like, I mean, I mean, how many people, like, if I'm gonna ask here also, how many people built a house or their homes that been destroyed for over 2 times over 10 years? How many people have built 2 times like of their life, like houses, like in 10 years time? I mean, the answer will be no. Like, I mean, it's nobody like can do that. Like, and it feels like now I was in Gaza exactly a year ago, and on the 18th of I was returned to Tromsø on the 18th of January, and also like it was also on the edge, on fire. Like Gaza been always like, because of the events also, it's not because of Gaza itself, no, it's because of also the whole situation that's happening in the West Bank and the escalation that happened all over the years, and then suddenly like it's another attacks or war over Gaza, and then you just try to understand why, like also like why people should die for, like, I mean, even nobody has the like, I mean, even like those who made the crimes, they have to even they made the criminal stuff. I mean, they put in a prison to be, because you cannot just go and say like it has to be judged, a process, and then you put them in jail or whatever. But then like nobody, like, I mean, like now we see like all the pictures that came out of Gaza and keeps coming. It just like it tells you, like, I mean, a different image. That's what I wanted to show you. I wanted also to show the parts that has been like shaping my life, and also the parts, the resilience of the people, and also the place itself, that also I reflected a bit in the film, also in my childhood memories with my friends, and also growing up in this great city that I saw last year was amazing. Like, I mean, places like the streets, everything, because also there were two years between the first visit and the second, and many things, of course, it changed. You see, like the beauty of the place, how much increased, and maybe it seems that they don't want us to be like having our like normal life, and we always has to be looked miserable, and like being always see us the one who need food or need become a refugee again. So my family became like another time of refugees. It's a kind of another Nakba that happened, even worse than the one that happened in 48, which is still we have to talk and tell again our stories and share to make the world understand our struggle and more. I mean, it's like it's tough days also for us who lives outside of Gaza, and we don't know like what's the next news will carry, like, or what's the who else we gonna miss or lose in this brutality or genocide.
And you're in the position, obviously, as a filmmaker, as an artist, to be a voice in the world. I mean, the film had its premiere at the TIFF festival. You won Best Director at that, you know, the biggest documentary festival in the world, International Documentary Festival in Amsterdam. And the film will now go from here to Gothenburg to different places, and you will travel with that. Now, when you were starting in your early first days to become a filmmaker, was it always in your mind to be like, I want to be a filmmaker to be a voice for Gaza, for Palestine, or was it, I want to be a filmmaker to tell different stories? Or was it always like, I'm a Palestinian, a person from Gaza, and I can be a filmmaker who tells those stories?
I wish if I could do the other one. Like it was always a dream because that's why we always growing up, like also like shaping myself around the camera, like being like also it's kind of a talent of growing up was taking the camera, filming around the city, and then you tell from what you see from your daily life. And my interest was actually in the beginning more fiction. So I was also trying to do like short fiction in Gaza, writing it and using my friends who are not the professional actors and direct them in a way that we make it together as a friends, as a fun project, and everybody was excited using with a zero budget, of course, and with this we don't have a cinema infrastructure or funds that support. Then we used to be like more individual initiatives or project based where we kind of like the workshop that I used to do also in Gaza, and that's how also I learned by also doing this workshop and made me more understanding how to tell a story. So it was developed over and over again. And for me, like, I wish to tell another story than my hometown. But at the moment, like, I mean, all, since like we not living the normal reality, of course, like, I mean, look how many films has been made about the Second World War or the First World War, like thousands of films that's been made on just like over like a like let's say 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, like since these events has stopped. And then of course it's affected our reality, it shaped our reality. But then at the same moment we are trying, like as a filmmaker myself, of course I wanted to use my voice to shed the light on our struggle and use everything I can to share what's happening to my people and my family, my friends, who's been living under this over for years. And for me, this is like a way of reflecting and also seeing, like, like I could, of course, like I mean, I would like to do at some point like fiction films. Like this for me, like I would love to share also other type of stories, go to other places as a documentary filmmaker as well. My human interest and also other people struggles, like, and it's was a limitation, but I can't again, like I cannot go freely, I cannot travel freely, I don't, like my passport doesn't give me my freedom to go, so it's always limited, it's limited. So you work around what you have, and then you try to grow in it and you try to develop yourself in what you have. I don't need to have like big cameras, or I don't need to have like I don't need to buy a new camera to make a new film. So it's like always, that's why also my interest in archive coming back and also trying to look to our images or the images when I grow up, which is I used some of it in the film also, like how to study, like to improve, even it was pixeled or like still you can tell a story within that. So that was also like in a way you put yourself into, you create your own challenge basically.
You mentioned there the archive, and it seems as though in your life you're filming yourself constantly. I mean, the camera, and it's a bit like the Truman Show, or you know, it's Mohammed TV. And is this like, was this from childhood? Because obviously you're born in 1990, a generation with first of all video cameras and then smartphones, and you feel a kind of compulsive need to, because of like a historical record. It's just part of your character. What?
It's like, I mean, I wish if I like, I mean, my uncle had a camera. He used to document us more still photos. Like also like that's how also I have so many from my grandfather. Like he has this camera that he used to go and take photos, but I don't have so many photos from when I was born, like when I was like 5 years. I have maybe one photo or two or like three max, like, but they didn't film as a more film like a Super 8 or whatever. the material is. But there is footage from Gaza, like even you can find it in archive where you can highlight that period. But for me personally, like the interest came in the beginning. Of course, or I got also a gift, or I got a camera of. More like this big boy, or like the flash camera that it's more like one time or two time use. That was with me, like, and also like, but you keep reuse it in a way. But then like, of course, like the phone helped. Like that's why also generational challenge. Like if it was like in 2011 or 10, it's different than today. They were not like TikTok or Instagram, or like it was totally different challenge. And also before that in 2004, and you know, the development of technology, the mobile phone of course helped a way to help to document. But I was always interested in taking photos of my friends. I have tons of all these photos. It could has been also disappeared, like from 2004 I'm talking, these photos of my old phone Nokia. And always my friends being like I'm the archive of my friends and my family, and also like I still have these materials. So my interest also like how to keep this, maintain it, like, and save it where I can go back to it, like so I have in my archive, like it's basically over the years since like, and then like documenting everything I have over. But it's intentionally or not, it's just like something that I grew up with, like, and it's.
And the idea to be a filmmaker developed from that, would you think?
I think that's the interest, because also like I was very active in culture, and also like I was doing like, also I was like did everything from painting to dance, traditional dance, dabka, or being a training or theater. So it's all these elements kind of shaped like the person who I am. I was very active also, and I was doing murals in the streets, and also like being active in groups, and I was always in the media team, or like the doing the coordination of it, or in the lead, or documenting, and start making these short clips. Like, and I at some point I started my first channel on YouTube and became like kind of a YouTuber, just documenting, and put it up on YouTube. And I just like from there also seeing the reaction, also like not everybody, if this act, like if the technology or social media was like when I started document, it would have been very different, like, and also it would have been, but this development shift in the technology also brought me to understand also more like the importance of saving these photos into my archive. So, and that's personal archive again, and how many people has this personal archive around the Palestinian history, because the original archive is still stolen and still with the Israeli army, who has a control of the Palestinian archive that has been stolen in over the war, and even in Lebanon. And yeah.
I think one of the many strengths of the film is the way that the film is about you, but it's also about where you're from and your background. Now, these are huge subjects. You have huge amounts of footage. You worked with two editors, Erland Edenholm and Fabini, on the editing process. Yeah. Now, maybe you could speak a little bit about that in terms of how they shaped it, because what we end up with is a kind of in a way, a sort of a thriller, because it's like, is he going to get deported? Is he going to get kicked out? And, you know, the tension there. I mean, we kind of know when watching the film that you didn't get deported, but we really feel, you know, the anxiety that you have and your friends have. Yeah. Maybe speak a little bit about how you went about shaping hours and hours and hours of footage into a very tight, coherent 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you know, you have tons of footage. You have like if it's like 100 hours or more, I think I would say like from the material I have more was like over 100 hours. And then like for me, of course, like to be able to start working with editor or to bring their interest, you have to have a selection of materials, like to be able to start the story. And in like in my kind of strands of the timeline, there is special events like that happened to me that I managed to document over the time. So I made a selection like, of course, it wasn't an easy way of finding and selecting this footage. Like, I made like around 10 hours from all this. That's by my own, and also trying to do it, make it accessible to be able to like to draw interest and samples of the footage before the editor start coming on board. So I knew what kind of materials I have and what kind of elements that we could use. And of course, when the editor comes on board, it's another process because you have to communicate your personal story to another person, and then you need to find a way that you are dealing with that. And then we start testing scenes, like from the footage we have, so to see, like, actually also one of the first things that I wanted to test was like the Gaza archive. And we made kind of also to start like also from this and this to select even if the two mediums between still photos and moving or like videos, and how can we play with this together. And I know like I mean also it's like a choice also to use still photos, because some people know we don't use still photos. It's just like it has to be everything moving. But then that's also a way of how we try to play, because I have all this tons of photos, also still photos, not only like video materials, because also if you looked at the old way of phone recording, also it wasn't there. Like it was like limited megabytes and not gigabytes. Now my phone is full of gigas. Like I can film anything, which is show you the privilege of technology that gave us nowadays, where we are easier to film and shoot. So anybody can make a film and a story. But then the story itself, you see that you put on the timeline, you have all these moments of your life, and then you have the back, you have the Gaza, and that was a decision that to bring it as like the childhood or the background of the story, the person who I became. And there were also a lot of that. We didn't use everything, but we cannot use from 10 hours. Then also after we start testing the footage, I went back also again. So it was I would say I was sitting and and I did a selection of translation. Remember you have to translate this, and also I was doing that job of transcript the material, and also made a selection of 6 hours that I know that the film will be from this. And that moment also, when it became, also we know that we have all these materials, we can get back to it, and that's where the interesting part of editing came. Also so it was more also collaborative. So we were all the time open to with Alan before, and also stepped on also who was, and Fabino was also a story consultant, also because also at some point, me and Alan, we got so close into the material, so we know everything, and it's also difficult at one stage to zoom out. So we needed an extra eyes to also look. And then of course you have also the team around where you get the feedback on what we have, and technical part was very interesting to work with it.
You mentioned the team there, and I think one of the things that the film is about community, and
exactly,
and how you were welcomed by this community. And there's a very touching moment because the film kind of is about, are you a filmmaker?
Yeah, exactly.
And the Norwegian government says, unless you have a document that says a diploma and you must have a qualification.
Education, yeah.
But there's this scene where the screen fills with people saying, Mohamed is a filmmaker, he's part of our community. And in a way, it's kind of that is more important than the document. And do you think that can make a difference in terms of how future people, artists who don't have a document, will be able to sort of, if you have enough of your peers to say this person is part of our community, you don't need to have the piece of paper?
I mean, also like everything in life connected to bureaucracy, like or like the paperwork, especially when it comes to very official or immigration. It's a very bureaucratical process to be able to apply. And then of course, like they didn't see the full picture, or like the problem they didn't, because there's two ways. They were like they were also saying if you, there is a qualification, like to be qualified, you don't need like they like there is like the main rule, like if you want to work in Norway as a film director, you will have to have a film education to be able to work as a film director in Norway. That's the immigration department has. But everybody working in Norway, like the filmmakers, many of them, they don't have a film education. But that doesn't go for on the locals, but it goes on everybody else who comes from outside. And then and that's like not necessarily correct, but it's for them to limit also, like to, it was kind of, I feel it was the climate of immigration was into its max at this stage, and it was very extreme because like also there were the Syrian crisis, refugee crisis in 2000, between 2014 and end of 17, and then like it's made it very difficult, like because like also like I don't know, they were super strict into pushing people back and not to accept more asylum or like people who wanted to come as immigrants or work. And like as a Palestinian or like someone from Gaza, like of course you will, I mean, like from where should I bring them a film degree if we don't have a film school? And then my qualification, I was just releasing a film that was supported by the film institutions in Norway here, and was like okay, like it wasn't complicated. Like I mean, it's complicated, of course, to be able to reach a level where you finish a film, but then to go through the whole paperwork or the paper of to be, I have to approve that I'm a filmmaker on documents. But can't, this was also, I was questioning them, can they see the films? Like how, what is to approve to them more than showing a film? And then all the film industry was like trying to, also because I was a member also of the Norwegian Film Association and the Director Guild of Norway, like it just also became a part of the community. And then it felt that they were trying to like push into their argument. No, you have to like, and then like that's what also provoked all the filmmakers who didn't have a film education. So everybody, I don't have a film education. Why do you need me? Why I shouldn't work as a filmmaker? And that goes to the artist who, why should the painter like, or Picasso or anyone on
many great filmmakers. I mean, Fassbinder. We can list the great filmmakers who didn't go to film school. And film schools are great, and it's great that they exist. But
it doesn't necessarily give you everything. It gives you like, I don't know, 10 or 15, 20% of the practical things, and then everything else. I mean, I've been also like after this case, I went to the Kabelvåg film school. I mean, many of like there's many of the like my classmates, they are practicing their filmmaking, but not necessarily all of them. Like many of them also decided to do some other things, or like so it's like film school gives you like 10 or 20%, and then the rest is you if you want to continue. And also like I had my practice in film before.
And also living in a place like Tromsø, I mean, that's kind of like an education itself, isn't it?
It is.
Living in these streets, it's you learn from the people.
You learn how to walk again, like not like only like the film, like in Tromsø. I think every year, like I think you have to learn how to walk again. Like it's just the fact that you, like they didn't want to see the full picture. And then like it was, I think I was maybe used to put the pressure, like because, like, an example of another refugee or like a immigrants to be pushed in a way, like also to use we are getting stricter here.
But on the other hand, you've definitely enriched Norway and Tromsø by being here. We have to keep an eye on the clock. We're into the last minute.
I don't see it.
I see it. The thing that I'd like to ask you is, people will watch this film all over the world now, all over Europe, all over Norway. It will be coming in the cinemas. People will have a chance to see it. But they will ask themselves, what can I do, a Norwegian or a person living anywhere in the world, what can I do to help the people of Gaza now? And maybe to end with, to be practical and positive, what can we do as people today now here?
I think to pressure first the governments, to pressure every country's government to be able to push towards first not stop the war, but end the occupation, and have first to recognize us as a Palestinian by pressure their governments, and also it stopped all the things that led to the war. That's the problem. There is things. It's not now. Didn't started now. It started a while ago. And by talking about Palestine, you putting the cause into the front again, and never stop talking about Palestine. Keep talking and keep sharing and keep posting, and don't feel tired or overwhelmed or people will think of you differently. No, you insist, tell, share, and also feel the pain of the people. I know many people already got tired by this, but think of my people, my friends who's been living for this over 3 months of this total brutality and genocide. And yeah, I mean, also it's not only the cause of supporting the medical organization, and also I think there is many ways that you can use to pressure your government. Also, I think there is very important element that could be used, boycott the Israeli goods, that also pressure economically, to pressure the situation. And yeah, we have all the right. Nobody is free until Palestine is free. So. Or until, to feel the freedom is everybody has to feel it the same and equally and with the equity of existence. Yeah, thank you.
I think that's a beautiful way of ending. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. The film is HAYA HELWA.
Yes.
Life is Beautiful, and Life is Beautiful with Mohamed Jabaly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
HAYA HELWA.
And thank you for watching.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nils. I appreciate it.